I'm Adam Beaty at Bull Logic Wealth Management, and my unexpected hobby is chess.
Welcome to Unexpected Hobbies of Financial Advisors, the podcast where we interview fellow financial advisors about their pursuits and pastimes beyond their professional persona, some of which may be surprising to their colleagues and clients. We're interested in what makes them tick and how their unexpected hobbies might or might not relate to their everyday lives. Here's our discussion with this week's guest. Welcome, Adam Beaty, to the Unexpected Hobbies of Financial Advisors podcast.
Thanks, man. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
We are excited to hear about your unexpected hobby, chess.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, I'm sitting in my chess room right now. So luckily, me and my wife, we don't have kids, so I got to dedicate one of our spare bedrooms to chess. So as you see, this bookshelf behind me is full of chess books. It's got 2 layers. It's all chess books. Along with the couple of chessboards that you see behind me, which are mostly decorative, but I actually have 2 chessboards in front of me that I actually practice and play on. So yeah, this is what I would say is a hobby of mine.
And how did you get into it? Is it something you picked up as a kid, or did it come later in life?
Honestly, it's a little bit of both. So when I was a kid, my dad played chess, not like professionally or in tournaments, but casually played chess with friends and stuff like that. He actually worked hard to get me into it, but his method was, beat me down every single game and hope I learn and adapt. I didn't take to that very well, so I kind of brushed it off. And probably about, I don't know, pre-COVID, I guess, like right before COVID, I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to learn how to play chess. I'm going to start playing chess. I'm going to start getting into that. So I started to learn. And at the same time, I was studying to become an enrolled agent. And I was like, it's probably a bad idea to try to study both of these things at the exact same time. So I'm gonna put chess on hold again, and I'm gonna get my EA. And I went ahead and did that, and completely forgot about chess again. And of course, COVID happened, and one of the main things, at least for pretty much every chess story out there, is Queen's Gambit happened on Netflix. And great show. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. But of course, it got the juices flowing again, and I was like, oh wow, I literally have nothing to do. I am not studying for anything right now, which is rare for me, but I was like, I have nothing else to do. I'm excited. I'm going to start doing chess. So I got into chess seriously probably 3 years ago, maybe a little over 3 years, but right at that mark.
And how long does it take to become genuinely proficient? I know that there's beginners all the way through the greatest minds on the planet.
Yep.
Were you able to sort of move beyond playing against 8-year-olds? And yeah, what's the progression like?
Yeah, so there is still a lot of 8-year-old playing out there, but I would say it takes a couple of years, and I'm talking a real kind of serious study to really be proficient. And I would say I'm above average now. I'm definitely in a higher echelon. I'm not Grandmaster, which is the highest title in chess, because that's a minimum of 20 years, 10 years at the least. But for my age, it's never going to happen, and that's just a reality. But I can sit down and play a decent game with a Grandmaster. I'm going to lose, but I can sit down and play a decent game with him. So I would say at least 2 to 3 years of serious studying and serious working at it.
And do you get to play in person? You said it started in the COVID era, so it's not all online. You do get the chance to go out and meet other people and play in the wild, in the flesh.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, that's a personal choice, because you can do one, you can do the other. So online chess is huge now. Has been for many years, but again, Queen's Gambit really kicked off the online chess. Chess.com is probably one of the major sites, but they have a huge online chess community, and you never have to play in person if you never want to. If that's not your thing, then you never have to do it. But no, I play in person pretty regularly, because tournament chess is where I want to play. I actually don't play online that much. I mostly play in person. And down in Houston, where I am, we actually have a chess studio, the Houston Chess Studio, where I can actually go. I actually go there every Tuesday to play 1 round every Tuesday, and a couple of weekends I'll spend my time there playing. So yeah, I play in-person chess very, very regularly.
So the martial arts people have a dojo, the pinball people have an arcade, and in your world, it's a studio.
Yeah, it's a studio.
Okay. And is that a space that's dedicated to chess only, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually, they've expanded recently, like in the last 6 months or so, but it was in a shopping center, a nice room. Basically, it's just a bunch of tables set up. When you when you play chess in a tournament, it's literally you're walking into tables and chairs. That is the only thing that's there. You bring your own equipment, you bring your own board, your clock, your paper to write down. There's literally nothing in there. So they have a bunch of tables and chairs in there, and it's set up to host chess tournaments, and that's all they do. And they recently bought the place next to them, knocked down a few walls, and now they have at least a lounge area for, when you're done playing, you can go over your games, or the adults that bring their kids there at least have a place to sit.
Cool. And so there are people that are able to spectate. And when we had the pinballer on as a guest, he talked about the camera rig so that you can see the action projected up on the screen. Is it a similar sort of setup?
Yeah, absolutely. He has a bunch of different cameras that kind of rotate through. They stream on Twitch, so not only can you see it in the other room that's on the TVs, but you can also go on. So I'll go play like Tuesday nights, and my wife will log into Twitch and watch the games. They have cameras. And we have electronic boards that are for like some of the top boards, but they record the moves. So you can actually see the moves. So you're not just like trying to follow it on camera. You can actually see the actual board moves because it's getting picked up electronically.
Are there commentators, play-by-play?
No, not in those scenarios. On big tournaments where it was like professional tournaments and stuff, yes, there's absolutely commentators. But on these little ones, no, it's just music in the background, and you get to watch what's following the action.
Have the FanDuels and DraftKings and their fantasy leagues for you? Is that not yet?
Not really. There is a small fantasy league, but it's not really taken off yet. It's hit and miss, to be honest. So yeah, it hasn't really caught up there. Twitch, just going back to that, has caught up to chess. Like there are a lot of chess streamers, a lot of grandmasters that will stream on chess, stream their games, play online, things like that. They'll you go to these bigger tournaments that has streamers, they'll have actually dedicated boards or dedicated setups where they actually have a camera on them at the actual tournament in person, so you can follow their games specifically. So that is very common with chess, but yeah, we haven't really moved into the betting phase yet.
So you mentioned going for the EA, and that takes a certain turn of mind to enjoy that aspect of the profession. Is it similar in the chess world that there's a certain kind of person, and it's accessible and a low barrier to entry kind of hobby, but is it a certain mold, or is it transcending stereotypes?
I do, but it's very open to all kinds of people, all walks, from very young kids to very old adults that have never played, can obviously get into it. All different types of people. I do think, at least the reason that I got into chess and the reason that I started with the EA and the CFP and all these things is I'm a learner. I'm a learner at heart. I love learning things. It's more of a disease, if anything, because I end up with all of these things behind my name that, are there. But chess is, there's no end in chess. Like even the greatest mind in chess, Magnus Carlsen, the best grandmaster, highest rated, without a doubt, there's still things to be learned in chess. He doesn't know everything, and I'll never know everything. So yeah, the constant learning aspect of chess really pulls to me. So I think it really helps because, like, again, there's just you can't fall into chess casually. You can play, but you really don't know what you're doing. You don't know how the pieces move. You don't really know what's going on. You really have to study at least some. And so you have to have that kind of open mind to, okay, I need to sit down and I need to learn what's going on. And I need to practice and continue to learn and push that hobby. So that's why it really came to me, is just because I love learning things, and this is like the ultimate thing to learn.
You mentioned the name Magnus Carlsen. There's not a lot of chess names that I know. Gary Kasparov, of course, because of his post-chess work in World Affairs. Mm-hmm. But I know Carlsen because chess a couple years ago was making headlines, and when your sport ends up in the Wall Street Journal for all the wrong reasons. But it seems to have gone away. Is that old news, or is it just not interesting the likes of the Wall Street Journal anymore, the integrity of the game?
It's a little bit of both. So that incident where he accused somebody of cheating, and whether it was right or wrong, is a whole nother can of worms that we're not going to open. But I say we as the chess community made the news for that reason. And you're right, it's probably not the best of reasons. And things have come up since then, and it's kind of got drawn out. And they settled that issue out of court, and so that's kind of behind us now. But and you're probably maybe even hearing the same kind of things, but chess cheating is always going to be something that's going to be talked about, and it's going to be some kind of in the news. Right now, there's another famous grandmaster, Kramnik, who's out there accusing a lot of people of cheating. And again, whether he's right or wrong, it remains to be seen, but it definitely makes the news when we talk about chess cheating because it is such a serious issue. People do take it more or less seriously when it comes to big events. And when I say people, I'm talking about the people who run the organization and people who run the tournament. But it is something that they try to crack down on, but it is always going to be kind of something present. And online chess makes it even worse.
I don't want to like stay in this negative, like cheating, but how do you cheat in chess? Like,
Oh.
oh, look, what's that over there? And you like move your piece. Like, how does one cheat in chess? I just have to know, and then we'll drop cheating.
Yeah. Online, it's super easy because what we have are chess engines, basically computers. It started with Deep Blue a long time ago, the first chess computer to breed a grandmaster, and it's really evolved since then. Chess computers are the ultimate player. And they'll beat Magnus Carlsen 10 out of 10 times without even breaking a sweat. So when you're online, there's nothing to stop you from firing up another computer or your phone and cheating. It's very easy. All there is algorithms by these different sites that can hope to kind of crack down and catch that. When it's in person, it's a little bit more tough. There was recently a grandmaster that was caught on his phone in the bathroom, and he had his grandmaster titles removed. But again, it's kind of easy. When I go to tournaments, we have to keep our phone off. It's not even like silent or anything. They're off. They're on the table. They're face down. If you get caught with one in the bathroom, you're ejected. You're gone. You're never playing chess there again.
It's a CFP exam.
Exactly.
It's normal for us, right?
Yeah. Now, when you do get, we're used to it. When you do get to the grandmaster level, you don't need that really level of sophistication. Basically, you just need something that tells you this is a critical moment in the game, and you need to spend time thinking at this point. You don't need to know what the move is. You don't need, because you're so good, all you need to know is there is one right move here. This is a critical moment. There is one right move here. And you can spend the 20, 30, 40 minutes sitting there trying to figure out what it is and find it. And usually you can because they're just good enough to do that.
I've heard it said from a neurological perspective, you put chess players in the MRI tube or the functional MRI or whatever, and that a new player, their brain will be exploring and thinking about what future options might be, but a proficient veteran will be remembering past games and what other people have done in this position. Is that accurate, or is that just an old wives' tale that I've heard about?
No, that's very accurate. It's what we call chess intuition. Basically, you may not remember when you saw the game, saw that position. You may never even seen that position, but you may remember something close to it. And you have a sense of what the right move is. And that will lead you to start exploring. So the real difference between like an amateur and a grandmaster, like you said, an amateur, they're looking at everything. They're spending all their time just kind of looking at everything across the board. A grandmaster is spending their time looking at a few things that they think are correct. And again, they know that, but by intuition, they played so many games, they've seen so many positions, they know where the ideas are and what they should be looking for, so they can spend their time just looking in those areas.
I suppose that's hardly unique to chess, that even in our own profession, I'm new, I'm a career changer, so I'm trying to think about everything and think it all for the first time, but you've been doing it 20 years, you've seen it before, you remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and as you were saying that, I was like, well, it shouldn't surprise, I guess, anyone that you enjoy financial planning, because that's what it is. I mean, there's only so many different things you can do with an IRA. So it's like once you memorize like those things, and somebody's like, I have an IRA, what are my options with it? Now there are infinitely more options with a chessboard of next steps that you can do and where that leads. But I guess it shouldn't surprise anyone that someone that's in planning is also interested in chess.
Yeah, exactly. You may, again, with financial planning, you may have heard of a strategy at one time that you read in a book or heard on a podcast that you've never done before. This situation sounds familiar to me. Maybe we should explore this. And you start Google searching or whatever and going to your notes and be like, oh yeah, okay, this was a strategy that I once heard about before that I've never used, but now we can put it in play because it makes sense here. So yeah, same kind of thing.
Looking back over the last 3 or 4 years, is there a special moment or memory that you view as a really high moment, a triumph that you're going to carry with you for the years in the future into your hobby?
Honestly, it's hard to say. Like, I've had some really good tournaments. I've won money. I've placed. So I would always say those are the best. But honestly, I'm just super happy just in general with my tournament play. I've done well over the years. I've done really well this year. So there's not just one moment. There's just a string of good moments for me. And honestly, it's just because I love the game and I'm happy playing it. And so when I see the progress and see the performance ratings and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, this was great.
This is a question that might be trouble, might end up being edited out. Have you been able to reconnect with your father over the chessboard, or is that something that was not in the cards?
Oh, yes and no. so, um, so I started learning in like November of, I don't know, 2019, 2018, whatever it was. I guess 2019 or 20. And so I show up at his house for Christmas and I'm like, hey, let's play chess. Because he had this very big decorative chessboard out on his coffee table. I mean, the thing was a mammoth. And I'm like, hey, let's play chess. And he was kind of hemming and hawing about it. And he was like, okay. And we sat down and I destroyed him. I destroyed him. We played again. I destroyed him. Like at the time, I didn't know much, but clearly I knew more. And he hasn't really played me since.
Oh,
that was it. So I try every once in a while on vacation. I can sometimes get him to play. He makes me do piece odds. So when a better player plays a worse player, how we kind of even the game is taking off pieces of ours.
like a handicap.
Kind of like a golf handicap. So he'll make me do piece odds. So I'll have to remove my 2 bishops or my 2 knights, and then he'll play. And
Oh, so like real pieces.
Yeah,
And just like give you, less pawns to work with. Like
yeah, exactly.
really real pieces.
Yeah, real
wow.
pieces. So I'm happy to say that I have beat him in all piece odd games. But I think the odds of me continuing to play him are slim. Maybe I can squeak it out on vacation just because he feels sorry for me.
Unless he's sandbagging you and he spent the last 3 years brushing up.
Right?
Turnabout once again.
Yeah.
Right now he's like just pounding coffee online doing chess. It's like
Yeah.
4 more months, 5 more months till the next holiday. I'm gonna get him.
got him.
I'm gonna get him.
This Thanksgiving, I got him this
Right.
time.
So as you've been out in the community, meeting people, playing with people, have you been able to make any professional connections, even collect any clients, or is that something that is not something that's really on your mind when you're looking at the 8x8?
Yeah, honestly, isn't really anything that's on my mind because again, I'm still playing 8-year-olds. There's a lot of 8-year-olds, a lot of 13-year-olds that you're playing now.
You open a Roth, young man.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now there are adults out there playing, but honestly, it's mostly just about the game for me and less about trying to make it work. Now, it obviously could happen just organically, but yeah, there's so many kids out there, I'd have to start talking to their parents. So, you never know, but yeah, it's really just about playing chess for me.
I know I just cleaned your son all over the floor, but would you mind taking this business card?
Yeah, well, your son's over there crying in the corner. Let me talk to you about your retirement distribution strategies.
And then go in the other direction. Do you have coworkers, colleagues, friends that you've been able to get interested in Tuesday night events, or they just not care?
Yeah, honestly, again, chess is one of those things that is not really just picked up casually. So it's really hard finding people to, do it with. It's not like I can just say, hey, let's sit down and play a game. They're like, what?
No.
It's not really like that. So yeah, it is harder to find people that actually do chess. I have some family that will do, like my wife's uncle. So when we get together, we'll play. I play against him. But yeah, work-wise, it is just hard to find people that actually play.
You mentioned your wife follows the streams. Is she getting into it, or is that just something that you've forced yourself to be interested in what your spouse is interested in?
Yeah, a little bit of both. So she was a good sport about it. So when I first got into it, she learned how the pieces moved. She does chess puzzles every once in a while, and we'll kind of keep up with that just to, stay in tune with what's going on. She does follow, and so she knows what's happening. And of course, she'll be forced to watch Grandmaster tournaments when I watch them on TV. So she has to suffer through that. So she's just a really good sport about it. But she does know how things work.
How long does one of your games usually take? Is it settling in with a bottle of wine and a bucket of popcorn?
It sure is. I would say on average 3 to 4 hours.
But the more wine you consume, the faster that goes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was a kid, you'd open up the newspaper, there's the crossword puzzle and the funnies, and then there was a little is it Charles Ryrie would put a puzzle in the Indianapolis Star. Is there somebody still doing that, or is that gone the way of all local newspapers?
It's probably gone the way everything's kind of gone more to chess magazines now. So you find those stuff more just kind of in those types where they're actually just reaching the audience that they want to reach.
So I would imagine that there's coaching in this world, right? Like if you want to get better at something, there's someone who's better that does coaching and holds himself out as being a coach or mentor. Is that something that you've either been the consumer of or been on the other end where you're maybe teaching the next generation or newer folks how to play the game?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's a little bit of both. So I have done a lot of coaching over my few years. So I've had a lot of different coaches. They're all kind of different in the way that they work with students and what they're kind of teaching, what kind of going through. So I've really kind of felt my way through the whole process, and I've kind of ran the gamut. So I actively work with a coach now. We meet 1 to 2 times a week. It just really depends on if I have a tournament going on. So we're very active. I never really want to do coaching. I don't want to say never, because that's, putting a cap on it. That was a long time. But I'm not really interested in coaching. I do have like a couple of friends that are lower rated that I help out, but it's not like a formal coaching agreement or situation. But we talk every day. We talk about chess, and I try to help them out as much as I can.
Is the community pretty welcoming?
Yeah, absolutely. Chess community is small, but we're mighty. So there are a lot of online communities that are super welcoming. There's always the toxic ones out there that you gotta be careful with, but there are a lot of online communities that are super welcoming, that want to help people, that want to, offer advice and make sure that they are on the right path. When we play in tournaments, after we finish a game, we'll sit there and we'll talk about the game. And we'll try to understand what's going on, why we made those moves, why did you do this? Did you think about this? I was really worried about that. So we're really trying to help people. And I've seen grandmasters do that with people rated way, way, way lower than them. They just, got paired against them, and that's the way it was. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good community to be a part of. And I think, we're really trying to help people out.
Is there a minimum viable community size to have a real functioning chess community? I mean, I guess I would associate a small college town that's got a bunch of intellectual people, so maybe so. But Houston, sprawling. Is there more than one chess studio in the area?
So there was before COVID, and now there's just kind of one remaining. But there are, there's definitely different communities. They're more online based, even though they're centered in Houston. So we have a couple of tournament directors, as we call them, that put together different events all over the city. They'll rent hotel rooms to do tournaments. We have a chess festival here where it's a big outside ordeal that has all kinds of events and things going on. They'll put together like lessons with grandmasters where it's kind of a group thing, pay $25, go to this coffee shop. They'll teach you something for an hour. So there's different pockets all over, Houston, like you said, is huge. But people will just put together, hey, let's meet at the park on every Saturday, we'll play a game, or hey, let's meet at the library every Thursday, we'll play a game, let's meet at this coffee shop. We have that all over the city. So like every night I could find something, I could be playing chess, whether it's competitive or it's just casual, that's different, but I could be playing chess every single night throughout the week.
Is there a rhythm to the season, or is it just sort of willy-nilly?
Yeah, it's pretty much just constant. The outside ones will tend to scale back just a little bit in summertime because, it's only 1,000 degrees here. So we don't want to sweat all over the board, but, but yeah, all the ones that are in like different coffee shops or libraries, they go on year round.
So are there big like hobby, for lack of better words, like conferences? Like are there big chess, like national chess, either events or a conference or even at a global scale, since it's a global activity? Like, is there like the Michael Kitces of chess that's like speaking at a chess conference that a bunch of chess folks go to? Like what exists in your world like that? Yeah,
nothing really like conference per se, but there are a ton of chess events, just global. There's even just the US. So St. Louis is probably the chess capital of the United States. They have the St. Louis Chess Club, which is owned by Rex, who did like the first index funds. He had a ton of money. He has funded a very big chess community in St. Louis. So you can go there, you can see grandmasters. They have a huge school there that you can go in and basically, sit in like a studio and listen to people talk, and here's their PowerPoint of their game, and let's learn. There's things like that. Las Vegas holds the U.S. Open every single year around Christmas time. There's tournaments, there's team tournament events where you can put together a team of 4 or 5 players and you can play against other teams in the World Opens in Philly every year. Yeah, there's all kinds of big events just in the U.S., but there's also kind of big events in the world that happen every year.
So the roots of chess, if I recall correctly, go back several hundred years to continental Europe. Is that right? As a recognized the game we know now?
Yeah, I was going to say several hundred to 1,000 years. I mean, there seems to be some form of chess it's obviously evolved a lot, but it has been around for an incredibly long time.
And then any place where European colonization happened, chess followed as well. So it's a truly global thing, even before the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super global. I mean, obviously, with Russia being a huge chess powerhouse a long time ago, and the Soviet, now it's India. India is a huge chess powerhouse. They're taking over. They're what we call the next generation. When we had the chess Olympiad, so chess Olympics, basically, every country has a team. India has like 3 teams. And they're stacked. I mean, they're ridiculous. But yeah, they got teams from Uzbekistan who did well last year. India has several teams. We have a team. Yeah, it's all over.
And there's no real language barrier, right? There's very limited communication that needs to happen player to player. It's all on the field play.
Absolutely. You shake hands at the beginning, and then you don't say anything until the very end. You write down your own moves on a score sheet next to you, and that's it. So no talking, no worries.
So is that the pinnacle of chess, kind of that World Cup Olympic sort of tournament, or is there like a Super Bowl somewhere that's really you kind of want to do one you want both of those if you're kind of the aspiring chess player?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a Super Bowl of chess. It's the World Chess Championship, so it happens every couple of years. So we actually have a qualifier called the candidates, and basically you have to qualify to be in the candidates. It's all obviously the top grandmasters, and then they will duke it out. And the winner of that tournament will go on to face the world champion of the previous year. And so that's actually coming up we just had the candidates, so the world champion's coming up in November, and that's the pinnacle. So yeah, World Cup is nice. The Olympiad is great. Obviously, these are huge tournaments, but what people want is the world champion, and they got to do it through the candidates.
Other sports and pursuits that have multi-hour events have experimented with tinkering with the format. Cricket and golf and baseball. How do we turn this from a 4-hour thing to a 90-minute thing? Has chess resisted that urge, or is there alternate forms?
You have 1,000 years of history saying you shouldn't. So probably, I'm interested in this answer.
Yeah, so classical chess is the one that's been around the longest. It's the 4-hour ordeal. Grandmasters play it turns into a 6-hour ordeal. There has been some pushback since online chess in recent years to make what we call rapid chess, more of a mainstay. Rapid chess is, a 30-minute game to an hour-long game. It's a lot faster. There's a lot more mistakes. Even by grandmasters, there's a lot more mistakes because they just don't have the time to think. Even though their moves are still nearly perfect, they're not perfect. In classical chess, they're almost all perfect. And so what happens in classical chess, not only is it a long time and it's hard to get non-chess enthusiasts excited about that. It's hard to get them to sit around and watch a 4 to 6 hour game. But a lot of them end up in draws. It's a draw. Everybody's making the best moves. Nobody's making a mistake. It ends up a draw, and that can get boring for people that are not into it. You lose a lot of that when it comes to rapid chess, where it's, again, quicker. A lot more people make mistakes, and they even get faster. They have blitz chess, which is like a 10-minute game total. You got 5 minutes aside. And they got bullet chess, which is basically a 2-minute game. You got 1 minute aside. So they've really experimented with trying to do a mixture of both. And honestly, the tournaments that we have now are really a mixture of both. You'll have your classical tournament here, you'll have your rapid tournaments here, and all the same people are playing in both because they want to play. So going back to like Magnus Carlsen, he was the world champion for a very long time. He got tired of playing classical chess. He gave up his world champion title. He did not get defeated. He's like, I'm not going to, come back and try to defend it. I'm done playing classical chess. And he still plays all the rapid tournaments, and he does incredibly well.
Do you have a preferred format?
I really like classical chess. I really like the long game. I like watching it. I like playing it. I like the time to think. You don't really have to worry about having the perfect game when you're at my level. You're going to make mistakes. Both sides are making mistakes constantly. So you don't really have to worry about just having a bunch of draws. So no, I like playing classical chess.
I suppose it's the sort of thing that you need to learn how to do it slow before you can do it fast.
Yes, and honestly, I wish people would learn that because they always try to play fast to start with, and they're like, "Why don't I get better?" It's like, well, if you played slower, you'd be better faster. So, what can you do?
Just like rebalancing a portfolio.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about hardware then. How many sets do you have, and what's sort of the progression from entry level to heirloom?
Yeah, so it's been embarrassing, but I have about 12 chess sets right now, which is probably 11 chess sets too many. But I really love them, and honestly, they all do the exact same thing, right? I mean, they all got the exact same pieces. They all function the exact same way. I do have a couple electronic sets that I can play online with. So I make the move, it lights up the other side. When they make the move, so I don't have to be on a computer, I can play like on a physical chess set, which I like because, again, that gets me more practice to playing in person. But my tournament set is a vinyl mat. It's, $20, $25 vinyl mat, plastic pieces. That's the one that I take with me to play in tournaments because I can roll it up. It's easy to travel with, and I can just lay it down, and I don't have to worry about some kid, putting it in his mouth or messing it up or, things that happen. But I do have some very nice, really wood chess sets that really nice wooden pieces. I have some that are engraved. So things that like my wife has gotten me for like Christmas or birthdays and, several $100 worth. So things like that, I have a lot of.
Is there anything that when you were getting into it that you wished somebody had told you in advance that not to warn you off, but just now that you're a few years in, what would you tell somebody in your position that was just getting going? What good advice?
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. It's a real, like I said, it's hard to get into chess casually. Like you can play casually and move the pieces, but it's never going to like do anything and you won't have any fun with it. So you really have to have the time to dedicate. I spend 15 to 20 hours a week studying chess, playing chess, studying chess. I put in a real commitment. It's a part-time job for me. I love every minute of it. So yeah, don't do it. But if you're crazy and you want to do it, find a community, find a chess community because it's hard to do alone. It's like, trying to own your own financial planning business or be your own financial planner. It's lonely. And especially if you're not really sure what you're supposed to be doing, it's hard to find the correct path forward because there's so much information out there. I mean, all these books, it's like, where do I start? Like, and that's just books, besides having Twitch streams, YouTube streams, and just online websites. Everybody's telling you how to do it differently because there's not one path forward in chess. There's not just like, this is what you need to do to study. Like studying for the CFP, you need to study these things. There's not that with chess. It's just like, good luck. So I would say find a community. And I found a community just by random chance when I first got started. And honestly, I can see the way that it shaped me versus like other communities that I would have been with. And I'm super happy that I found them. And honestly, I can really say that they were the reason that I progressed as well as I did in chess.
If the whole universe of the internet is at somebody's disposal, where do they go first to find a good community?
Usually YouTube or Twitch is a good place to start because you can see the kind of content that people put out. Some of the content is just people playing games and they're not really doing anything else. They're just like, hey, come watch me play games, which you can learn a lot from. That they build your intuition, but you're not really getting anything else from that. You can go to other sites and say, okay, well, this person's teaching me something. This is why you should do it. This is how I should do it. And those are the types of communities you want to kind of fall into. And that's how I started. I don't know if it was Twitch or YouTube, but basically they were teaching. They were education first. They didn't really care about entertainment value, which is probably their detriment, but they were education first. I was like, oh, this is great. I'm learning a lot. And then I got in with their Discord community and I've been with them for 3 years.
That makes sense. That as I've moved into the industry, found a few Facebook groups and that have been really helpful and really enjoyable. And there's one out there that people said, oh, you got to try this one. Yeah. And I've been in it 2 weeks and I hate it and I don't like these people and I'm going to give it a full month to see if I warm up to it, but clock is ticking on them. All right. So if somebody wanted to find out more about you, either on your hobby side with your Twitch or whatever, or professionally, how do they find out more about Adam?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to our financial planning website, bullogicwealth.com, BULLOGIC wealth.com. That's our financial planning business. You can always friend me on chess.com if you play. I'm the Ollie Doodle, so I have a Labradoodle. His name is Oliver, so I'm the Ollie Doodle on chess.com. So yeah, if you play, feel free to friend me. I'd be more than happy to play some games with you because I don't care what rating. So yeah, you can find me one or two ways.
Yeah, I have to ask too. I mean, there's so many analogies in planning in chess. Do you at least take the opportunity to use some chess imagery in your marketing materials or stories that you tell, or is that just too cheesy?
Yeah, so you could definitely find some chess words throughout like the blog posts that I've written or stories that I tell clients. They tend to sneak in there every once in a while. So yeah, they've definitely filtered through. I try not to go with like the full-on chess imagery.
Yeah.
But yeah, the words and the phrases and mindset of chess definitely comes through when I talk and write.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being willing to talk with us, who knows so very little, and helping us understand about your world and what it's meant for your profession and for your life. We really appreciate your time and sharing today.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, I love talking about it. So yeah,
Thanks for coming on. It's very, very cool.
Unexpected Hobbies of Financial Advisors is brought to you by Fiduciary CFO, forward-thinking tax and planning solutions for business owners, like RIA firms and their business owner clientele. The opinions of Brian, Joshua, and their guests are for entertainment purposes and should not be construed as legal, tax, financial, or investment advice. You should know better than to take any of this content seriously. Thanks for being a fan of the show. If you were listening and thought to yourself, hey, I know somebody they need to have on the show, you can do something about that. Go to unexpectedhobbies.com/nominate and tell us who they are and what they do that's so interesting and unexpected. If we agree, we'll send them an invitation and we'll hope they say yes. That's unexpectedhobbies.com/nominate.